I assume you've all heard of Marley and Me, the book and movie. Marley and Me, Life and Love with the World's Worst Dog. This story is similar, but different. It's about Lucy and me. Let me explain. Lucy was impressive, if a little odd. She always came when you whistled, no matter what she was doing. She loved everyone, dogs, cats, kids, old people. She had endless patience and would lay in the sun on the deck and let the neighbor's Rottweiler and pit bull lick her face. She had a beautiful, lush, black coat and amber eyes. She was an expert at fetch and retrieved birds like a trained Labrador. She enjoyed car rides and boats. In fact, I remember being on the lake with her in the aluminum fishing boat as she stood on the bow, the water splashing in her face, looking around. And when we arrived at our destination, she jumped out of the boat and her back legs landed in the water and she just kicked them off and went on her way, waited for us to walk around the island with her. She loved musical chairs at parties and even baths and the blow dryer, and would lay there basking in the heat after her bath as she was dried. She would know that my husband was home before his cab even rounded the corner more than a block away, would let herself out and run to the car so she could snuggle with him while he did his paperwork before he came in the house. Now, why is this odd, you might ask? Well, it's odd because Lucy was a cat. Now, Lucy was the only one who didn't know she was a cat. I swear to you that when she looked in the mirror, she saw a big black Labrador retriever staring back at her from her reflection. Now, did I mention she retrieved? Because that brings me to my story. One night, first I'll give you a little background. She loved to retrieve anything, tinfoil balls, pieces of paper, anything you gave to her or threw to her, she would bring back to you. She would even bring home birds. She thought she was a lab, right? Now, what made her interesting was she didn't kill the birds. She brought them home alive. So it was like a little treasure hunt when you got home, because she'd let herself in her window, and you'd come home and find a little pile of feathers somewhere, and you had to follow the trail. So you would search through the house, and you might find the bird up on the ceiling fan, just sitting on a blade, peacefully turning around and around. Or perhaps up on a valance. They like to go up high. On a valance on the window, chirping away. And the challenge was then to get the bird and release it. She even hit a bird once in the sofa. That one took several months to find. Not so fun. But she always left clues. So one evening, my husband and I were enjoying some television, both reclined on the sofa, and in comes Lucy. But she was kind of furtive, like a little kid with a surprise or a secret. She dashed under the table, and I went to grab her, around the corner into the dining room. I chased her down, and when I saw what she had, I screamed like a girl, ah! Called my husband and said, definitely a blue job, not a pink job. The cat has a mouse, and the mouse is alive. So Jay tracked the cat down, picked her up, and took the mouse. I expected him to go back to the front door and release the mouse outside, but no, he went to the kitchen. I said, what are you doing, Jay? He said, it's cold and wet. It's unconscious. Yeah? Put it outside. But it will die. Exactly, I said. But no, he didn't come back. He was still in the kitchen. So I went to the kitchen to see what he was doing. And there he was over the stove, holding the mouse, over the element of the stove, rocking it back and forth to gently warm it and bring it back to life. I said, "What are you doing now?" He says, "You should see this thing. It's kind of cute." I was intrigued. So I went to look. That is kind of cute. Let me see. So I picked up the mouse and I put it in my hand. And I pulled it up toward my face to have a look, at which point it came to life. And it ran down my arm, and then up my arm, and then over my shoulder and down my shirt, where it got caught in the lace of an undergarment. So what did I do? Did I mention I was standing in front of two windows? One over there and one over there. And as the mouse is trying to get loose, I screamed, "Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!" And my husband proceeded to melt into peals of laughter and bend over at the waist and leave me to die at the hands of a mouse. Eventually he came to, and he got the mouse off of me, at which point it jumped out of his hand and ran under the stove. So we had to retrieve the mouse. Now, Lucy never saw the mouse come out. So she stayed there for a week, on guard, waiting for the mouse to come out from under the stove. So, what's the point, you might ask? The point is this. I loved that book, Marley and Me, Life and Love with the World's Worst Dog. And I think the reason it was so important to me was because I had Lucy. So it was Lucy and Me, Life and Love with the World's Best Cat. Mr. Toastmaster.